Hey guys, welcome back. So for this next section, I think we'll leave our little My Cool Font regular behind and open up a font that has a little bit more going on in it, like our Casserole Sands, so we can show you a few more things. First of all, in a font like this where we have um, composed glyphs, we have glyphs that are entirely made up of components. And these are just basic references to other glyphs in the font. And you can find a list of components in a glyph by going to this component section in the inspector. And these are useful so you don't have to redraw things or go, if you edit something, you don't have to go back and edit it. And so the basics of making a, uh, a glyph that is made up of components is as follows. You can make a new glyph in a font by going to Font, Add Glyphs, and we're just going to call it My New Glyph, just because we don't need it to be any specific name. And in this blank canvas, we can right click and there's an option that says Add Component, and then we search for the name like A. And by default, if there's nothing in this glyph view, this little button called Copy Metrics is going to be selected. So that's going to match the metrics of that glyph. And then when we have another component to put in, it's going to be unchecked. So if we put in acute, it's just going to put it, but it's not going to copy the metrics from that. And then you can position it how you want, but this is made easier by an extension called a glyph construction, which we will get to in the future. But basics of how you use a component is you could just keep it like this. It's all fine, but if you wanted to do something like I wanted to base one glyph off of another, you could add a component and then decompose it, and then you can edit it. So for instance, it's extremely common to do something like add component A, and then add component E, kind of position them together, and then you would decompose them. Components, decompose all, and then you could combine them in a fashion that would make this combination a little bit more elegant. So for instance, we could use our slice tool to cut that contour open and then bring this E back. Maybe that's not enough, so we'll slice it a little bit more. And that's already a little bit better. And if we wanted to match the left and right side bearings of the A and the E, we can, obviously jump to the E and see how, what right side bearing it is, and then jump back to using Shift J, jump back to the AE, and then type that in. But I can also just go to the right side bearing thing here and type the letter E and enter, and it will copy that side bearing from the letter E. And I can do the same as A here. And then we have left side bearing and right side bearing matching the A and the E. Obviously, you would kind of finesse this a little bit more. What have you. This is not perfect. Other things to note here are these guidelines. So we have guidelines that are serving as other lines of reference that might be helpful for us. So for instance, if I want to make sure that these nodes align with that node up there or something, I can hold down the hotkey G and click, and it will give me a guideline at that point, and then I can drag it to the position that I want it to be, and then I'm like, oh, I should make that a little bit higher if I want those to align or something. There's no reason they need to align, but you know, there it is. If I wanted to make a vertical guideline, I would hold down Shift G and click, and it will give me a guideline for vertical alignment. If I want to get rid of a guideline, I just drag it off of the artboard like that. Let's make this a little bigger. If I wanted to position this guideline more exactly, I could type it in here, and I could give it a name. Like here we have a number of names. Let's say we can say mid X height. And then we can you know, drag it to the mid X height, which would be 481 divided by 2 is 240. That's close. You can change the angle of a guideline by holding down Option and then dragging it, and it will give you the degrees that you are hitting. This is very helpful. You can then position it, and by holding Shift, you get locked to the 45 degrees. And if I want to make it a global guideline, which is to say, like these are visible on any glyph, you click is global, and it will turn it a different color. I can also lock it to make sure that I don't accidentally move it. Then you double click on it to unlock it. And you can also enable it to show measurements like it is a measurement tool line as well. So all those things you're able to do with guides. And if I want to get rid of it, I just drag it off. So components, guides, the last thing to talk about is anchors. Anchor is a specific point that is helpful when assigning accents and such. So you right click, add anchor, and you give it a name, and that's it for anchors. It's not too much to it. Anchors are just singular points, and you can find anchors listed in this section down here. You can also give anchors. You can give individual anchors a different color if you would like. Just needs to update. There you go. And you can delete them. So these are different things you can do in the font window. And now that I'm done with this glyph, I want to delete it. If I press the delete key, it will clear the glyph, but it will not remove it from the font order. If I hold down Option and then click delete, it will remove it more permanently. So speaking of that, in the next section we're going to talk about sorting this glyph window now that we have a font with a lot of glyphs in it, and also kind of showing different sections of the font repertoire